Coming up on 5 Minute News. Biden proposes $2 trillion investment in US economy. Coronavirus surge could be worse than the last for the Americas. And 2 Capitol Police officers sue Trump over January 6 riots. It's Thursday, April 1. I'm Anthony Davis. President Joe Biden on Wednesday called for a sweeping use of government power to reshape the world's largest economy and counter China's rise in a $2 trillion plus proposal that was met with swift Republican resistance. The president's American Jobs Plan would put corporate America on the hook for the tab as the government creates millions of jobs building infrastructure such as roads, tackles climate change, and boosts human services like care for the elderly. It's a once-in-a-generation investment in America, unlike anything we've seen or done since we built the interstate highway system and the space race decades ago, Biden said in unveiling the program in Pittsburgh. He said he had no problem asking companies to foot the bill and is going to put an end to Amazon.com Inc. and other major companies paying little to nothing in federal taxes. Biden's second multi-trillion-dollar legislative proposal in 2 months in office sets the stage for a partisan clash in the U.S. Congress, where members largely agree that investments are needed, but are divided on the total size and inclusion of programs traditionally seen as social services. Another economic proposal Biden will release in April could add a further $2 trillion to the total price tag. Coupled with his recently enacted $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package, Biden's infrastructure initiative would give the federal government a bigger role in the U.S. economy than it has had in generations, accounting for 20% or more of annual output. Biden's team believes a government-directed effort to strengthen the economy is the best way to provide support to an economy walloped by the coronavirus pandemic and contend with increased competition and a national security threat posed by China. Countries in the Americas could see a worse surge in coronavirus cases than the previous surge last year, with Brazil, Uruguay, and Cuba already suffering, the Pan American Health Organization said on Wednesday. Director Carissa Etienne said the end of the Southern Hemisphere summer, following holidays where people grouped together and spread cases, has prompted spikes. She urged citizens to stay at home and governments to think hard before lowering movement restrictions. So far this year, over 19.7 million COVID cases and 475,000 related deaths have been reported in the Americas, she said. Vaccines are rolling out. 124 million people have received 1 dose, and 58 million have received 2, Pajo said. More have begun to arrive through the COVAX Vaccines Alliance, a total of 2.5 million in the past 30 days, with all countries in the region to receive some COVAX doses in the next week. Vaccine supply continues to be our greatest challenge, admitted Etienne, saying the organization was scouring the globe for more supply, asking countries to hand over surplus. There have been far too many examples of vaccine nationalism, she said. At present, Brazil, Peru, Chile, and Paraguay are reporting the highest COVID-related death rates, and the recent influx in cases is overwhelming hospitals. At least one of the 3 COVID variants of concern have been identified in 32 regional countries, with Brazil's P1 in Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, and the United States, Canada, and Mexico. 2 U.S. Capitol Police officers have filed a lawsuit against former President Donald Trump, saying he incited the deadly January 6 insurrection and was responsible for physical and emotional injuries they suffered as a result. James Blasingame, a 17-year veteran of the force, and Sidney Hemby, an 11-year veteran, filed the lawsuit on Tuesday in U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, seeking damages of at least $75,000 each. Trump has denied responsibility for the rioting, which left 5 people dead. including a police officer. The lawsuit cites the former Republican president's conduct before and beyond the November 3rd presidential election, including comments in speeches, on Twitter, and during presidential debates. It said Trump stoked violence through the 2020 presidential campaign and escalated his false assertion that the election was rigged after the election was called for Biden. During his 2016 campaign and throughout his presidency, Trump has threatened violence towards his opponents, encouraged his followers to commit acts of violence, and condoned acts of violence by his followers, including white supremacists and far-right hate groups, it said. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news. Daily.